everyone, it's Sam here. So I shared a tutorial showing you how to make this very cute side box pop-up card, I think I called it, I can't quite remember. And I want to do a little mini series on this one. So I've kind of got two mini series running side by side, but this is the C6 version. So this is 6x8. I am going to do 5x7 and 6x6 as well. But how adorable is this? It all folds down flat, so it will go in your envelope. And then when you pop it up, you have that wonderful scene with all the fish there. I've got my little anglerfish on a little wobbler, which I think is adorable. You could add lights to this. I think it would be great as a Christmas scene. You could use, you know, this theme here, or the autumn stamps on this kind of style. I've got a Under the Sea playlist as well, so if you like this theme cards, check out the playlist because there's loads there, so I'll have that popping up. But I just think that looks adorable. It stands so nicely. You don't have to have this many bars in. You could just have half of that or just a couple. It's entirely up to you. And as always, you've got all your space on the back there to be able to write your message. So you don't need any specialty dies. I just used a die to cut the aperture, but you could easily cut that by hand. So let's get started and I'll show you how to make it. The product I'm using today, I'm using the Background Scenes paper pad, and it's this one here on the very front. You've got a really nice mix there. Just those instant scenes all done for you. Your space one there and a couple of sports ones as well, that one there, and then my Making Waves stamp and die set. You've got all those cute images. And then for the aperture, I've gone for this one here, but you could cut a simple rectangle shape. You might want to do multiple apertures, you know, you might want to do like 3 squares together or something, but I'm using this one. I'll give you the measurements for it all in a minute. So I've got everything ready here. So for the main box part, you want a piece of 10x8. Along the 10-inch side, you want to score at 1/2 inch, 3.5, 6.5, and 9.5. And then I've added this die already in the middle there. I've just stuck it down. I brought mine up a little bit from the bottom, so I'm going to have, this is the frame that I've already made. So you see, once that's stuck around there, I've got the space for the sentiments. I thought it looked quite nice. This aperture size, if you want to cut something similar, is 2 1/4, 2 3/8 by, I've done 6 3/4, but if you want to go right down, then you could go down to like 7 3/4, so you've got a nice equal frame around there. So it's up to you. Like I said, you might want to do a little square here, then leave a space, then do another little square, leave a space and another square. You might have some punches that will allow you to do that, but I'm going to get that one die cut. Okay, so that's all cut out nicely, so I can fold and burnish those score lines. So now you could back this with acetate, and I think that would look really nice for the theme that I'm doing. But if you add a frame, I'm going to use the construction glue. That's going to add the strength back in to that front again. I could still at a later point add the acetate. You could add that right at the very end if you wanted to, so it's not a problem. So the white card I cut to 7 3/4 by 2 3/4, and then I cut that same aperture into it. So it's just a little bit higher. So I'm just going to add my glue. This is a Collall construction glue. There's Beacon 3-in-1. There's quite a few other brands as well, but this glue doesn't have any water in it, so when it sets, it dries really hard. Solvent based, and it's brilliant. This cardstock's about 230 GSM. If you've got like a heavyweight as well, then obviously that's going to be fine. So just line that all back up. So I'm just going to leave that to one side while it's drying, and then the main card is this piece here, which is 6x8, and we're going to stick that to the one side so then it can fold over into the other side. But I don't want to stick it on just yet. I want to add all of the bars inside this one, and then I like to stick it all down. It's just a bit easier that way. Plus also, if you add your acetate, if you're going to decorate inside, you might want to do the acetate at the very end, because at least this way you can get in and stick things quite easily. Once the acetate's on, you're going to have to go up from the bottom or the top, so it might make access a little bit tricky. So if you want to make all of the little bars, so just like I did on this one, if you've seen that video, you can see all the bars there at the bottom. I'm going to add 5 bars into this one, and they will be spaced out by 1/2 inch. So I've got my 5 already here, and I'll show you how I've done that. So I just cut myself a piece of card that's 4 inches wide. The length is up to you, depends how many you want to cut from it. This is just this A4 defaults at 8 1/4, and then you want to score along the 4 inch side. You want to score at 1/2 inch and 3.5, and then you just want to cut any kind of shape. So this could be grass, for example. It might not be waves or water. I'm going to come up about 1/2 inch, cut to that score line, and then just create a wave. And then just bring it back down roughly to about 1/2 inch again, and just snip away. Because once you fold those in, those are going to be the sides that will stick to either side of this. And then the shape is what you're going to see. So I've tried to do mine all different. So like I said, I've got 5. I'll keep that one in case I want to use it. But you just then, you know, trim that so it's straight again. You've got a straight edge, and then cut another bit. Or use that and kind of, you know, cut into it. It's, you know, up to you. There's loads of ways to do this. Or just have them straight. You could have them all 4 by 1/2 inch or 4 by 1 inch and just cut a load of straight pieces, which again is what I did on that one. They're only white strips, and then I stuck the grass onto the top separately. So all those strips are 1/2 inch if you wanted to do it that way. So like I said, a few different ways to do this. So for this one, I'm just going to have water at the bottom and water at the top with some of the seaweed. You could do the seabed, so it could be more sandy colours, but I've just done mine all in blue. So you're going to take one of these. Actually, I do need another 5 because I want to do 5 from the top as well. So I will need some more. Okay, so I'm going to take the one that's kind of the thickest, tallest, and I'm going to take some of my quick grab glue, run that down one side, and you're going to be working on this inside left side. So there it is when it's all together. So you've got your left, the front, and then the right. That is the back. So when you turn it over, you want to work on this side here. I'm going to stick this one right down the bottom. In fact, I say the bottom, I'm going to bring it up a little bit because I want you to see it through the aperture. If you've got your aperture lower down, then bring this down so it's further down. But I'm actually going to stick mine in line with that. So just drop that one down, and it's going right up to the fold there. And keep it nice and straight. Just fold that one back like so. Then I want to take my next one. Again, you want to be able to see a little bit of each one really. So I might do, probably want to lay them down. I think I did that before. Kind of lay them down before you stick them in. So that one. I might flip that one. Yeah, so then that one's going that way. So what's that, 4? I need one more. Let's flip that one. 5. Maybe we'll keep that one for the top because that's quite big. Let's have this one. There we go. That one can go in there. It's 2 kind of the same together, but that's okay. So again, I'm going to add my glue to that left-hand side as you're looking at it. And then when you turn it over, you're now going to butt this end up to this fold. The key is to keep it all straight. So if you use your grid, just line this up with a straight line. Like so. And then when I fold this back, I want to make sure I bring it down to that same line. Once you've got one in place, then you can just use that now as the guide. So now when you bring it up, you've got 2 of your bars and they're 1/2 inch spaced. And then take the next one. So I'll show you on this bottom piece, and then I'm going to do exactly the same, but this time I'm going to run it along the top. Again, oh, wrong side. That's me getting it confused now. That's okay. So again, that one. And then the last one, which will give you your last 2 1/2 inch sections. Okay, so now if we do a trial, if you bring them all up, fold all those tabs down, like so, and then bring that one just roughly around, you can see it does definitely look like the waves. So I want to repeat that along the top. So I'm sticking it all to the same side. So I'm going to start with this really thick one first. And I'm going to line this one up with the very top of the card. So it's easy then. I just follow that top white line here and just keep that like so. And then I'm going to cut myself 4 more shapes with this piece. Okay, so I've got my top and bottom pieces. Now what you'll find is when you lay them all down on top of each other, you'll be able to see each of the 1/2 inch tabs on each one. So all you need to do now is add your glue, just a little on each one. And don't worry if they're not all exactly 1/2 inch. You can see mine are all a little bit different because I've cut it all freehand. That doesn't matter. Just make sure there's enough glue on each one. And then you want to fold this one over and then this one. And it should all hide behind. If you flip it over quickly before it's had a chance to really grab, just to make sure everything's nice and straight. That all looks pretty good. And then carefully bring it around and fold it back in the other direction. And now, how cool does that look? Looks really whimsical as well. I'm super pleased with that. I think that looks really cool. So next we can stick it onto here. You might want to keep it like this and start decorating it and then stick all that down. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to stick mine down because it's just how I've found the, you know, it's quite easy still to decorate it even when it's all together. I just like to, you know, have the card all in place when I go to add the decoration. So I'm going to use the construction glue now because I want to make sure this is nice and strong. So I'm just running the glue down each of those 1/2 inch tabs, and you're going to make sure that the first one on the left here, you butt it right up to the edge of that base piece. Okay, I'll just bring this up. You can see that it's right up to the edge, like so. And then if you, once that's kind of gripped, I'm just going to pinch it just so I can speed it up a bit, but fold the other side down and let that find its place. And you'll see it will all fold perfectly into that 6x8 size, so you know it's going to go in your envelope. Give that a second to grab. Whilst that's drying, I've got my big Collall here actually because I just refilled it. This is the glue. That's the one I like to buy, and I've got it linked. It's on my Amazon storefront. So I've cut myself these 2 pieces, but I'm actually going to cut another 2. Is that the right? No, it's that way. I wanted to make sure that's it, so the picture continues. So I've got, this is going to go in the back of the box and this is going to go onto the left hand side. So if you've got a design that is one big picture that you're cutting it from, then make sure you cut them in sequence. So this is just under 3. It's a smidge under 3 by 7 7/8. So I wanted it to cover most of the space. So that's now stuck. You can see, there we go. So what I mean by these ones, so by cutting it just under 3, it's going to fit that space perfectly. So that's my background there. And then that one is going to go in there. So you see it just continues that scene for me, which I thought was quite a nice touch. But I also want to cover the sides here. So because I want to cover most of the blue, again, I'm going to cut it just under 3 and just under 8 basically. And do another 2, so 1 for that side and 1 for that side, and then decorate. So I've got all of my elements here, and the plan is, I think I'm going to have the whale is probably going to be on the outside, but I want to try and do it. I'm going to cut him so half of his fin is in there and then the rest of him is on this side. So if you imagine, he's going to be across the card, kind of like that, maybe towards the top. And then all of these I'm going to attach using strips of acetate. So I've just got lots of scrap acetate in here. You could use cardstock if you want, but you want, just for example, this piece, I'm just going to cut them quite thin. The ones that are dangled down, I'm going to make thin. The ones that are going to stick from the bottom need to be more rigid. So you want like a construction weight acetate, like a 240 micron. But this is quite flimsy, so this would be great for the ones that I want to have hanging down. So I'm cutting it about 1/4 of an inch. You can see there. And then I can just trim that, probably trim it again, add a bit of tape behind the back, and then you can stick this behind all of the different waves and have a different element stuck to it. He would look cool actually on the outside because you can stick anything on the left here, because when you fold it flat, it will all still fit in the envelope. You can't stick anything on the right because then you'd make your envelope, you need to make it bigger. I've got my anglerfish there. You could be just jumping out of the waves. So I'm just going to have some fun now and just stick these all down. But like I said, a flimsy acetate is fine for the top because they're just hanging. But if you're going to have anything from the bottom, make sure it's a stronger acetate or a cardstock. Okay, so there is the finished card. I absolutely love this. Any cards that I make using under the water theme, I love, and I'm going to actually add this to, I've got a playlist just dedicated to this theme of card. So if you've got underwater themed stamps and dies and you like to use them, then check out the playlist because there's so many card styles that I've done over the years. Now I've got a bit of space there. I could stamp another sentiment, but I'm going to use my trusty little birds here. I've had these for years and I just keep them on the little stamp blocks. And they're great little fillers. It's what I used on this card here. You can see them on the back there as well. So there is another one to add to this little mini series as well. I'm kind of doing two little mini series side by side, but they're both box kind of inspired. So you've got your DL slimline one there, and then you've got your C6 6x8. I will do a 6x6 and a 5x7 as well. So you'll have those options coming. But how wonderful is that? You could have a little Christmas scene in there. You could add lights. I think there's just so much you can do. And again, you can see it all folds down flat. Oh, I forgot to say, I added a little wobbler. The anglerfish was just screaming wobbler. And I've done a little school of fish there as well. And then I love that the whale continues on the back there. You could also attach it to the side there, but I kind of like that he's coming through the card there. And then the cute little turtle as well. I think it's very, very cute. And then once again, close up of the little woodland scene there as well. So thank you as always for watching today. I'll have links to all of the products that I've used on both of these cards in the description box below. Check out the playlist, like I said, because you'll see lots more underwater themed cards in there. Give this video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed today and drop me a comment because I do enjoy reading them. And make sure you're subscribed as well, and that way you won't miss out on any future videos. Take care and I'll see you in the next one.